Hey MGTOWs, this is Vention. I was just thinking about something and I'm kind of curious. um, this whole thing, I mean, a lot of MGTOWs, they're talking about how traditionalism and how it's good for men to have like multiple wives or some shit, like going in for polygamy. Um, And that is weird, if you ask me. Now, sure, I mean, you can have all kinds of crazy fantasies about multiple women and whatnot, but man, the reality, if I understand correctly, is not what it's cracked up to be, so to speak. Um, what would happen? I mean, just do a thought experiment. What would happen in a polygamist society, right? In that situation, the wealthy men, they would have four wives, like in the Middle East where it's legal. But by the way, most people apparently, if I understand anecdotal evidence, they actually don't. Most of the time, one wife is apparently plenty, and I would go along with that. But imagine what would happen in a polygamy society. The wealthy men would have four wives, right? Maybe the merchants and the next step down from the middle class, they would have like maybe two. And that would leave the working class and the poorer men, who would just like work with their hands and whatnot, totally freaking deprived of any possibility of reproduction or family. And then, of course, when he got old, he would die. He would probably starve, right? So imagine what would happen in a situation like that. You'd have a situation where the best women are, of course, gravitate to the money like they always do. And then the next step down, people might have two wives and then none, right, for the working or lower working class. And there would be a strong demand for more women, right? And that is one of the explanations. I mean, one of the reasons why that whole Muslim slavery thing went on, for like 1,200 years. I mean, whole areas of Europe had to be abandoned because of Muslim slavers. And then and they were brutal to everybody. And Africa caught hell from Muslims back in the day. And basically there was like the men were killed and the boys were castrated and then turned into eunuch slaves, and it's just some brutal freaking shit, right? And I am of the opinion that the majority of the reason for that is just this tremendous shortage of women. And they were just, so there was an incredible lucrative market, especially for like, I don't know what the deal is, but there's this fetish all over the world for like light-skinned people. and the European women and girls, of course, the women were usually raped and killed, but then the younger teenage girls would be enslaved, and of course, the little girls would be taken as well because they'll grow up. And there's this weird worldwide fetish for like lighter-skinned people, which is kind of weird. But in any case, this tremendous demand for women is probably the majority of the reason for that horrible, bloody, evil 1,200-year-long murderous rampage that went on in the Muslim, nations. And it was just some nasty, brutal shit. But most countries that didn't really get into that whole polygamy thing, they seem to be a lot less bloody and murderous, right? So you got a situation if if it's like monogamy, you've got a situation with women competing. They have to step up in order to get a good man, because if a man is already taken, there's no way that they can become a junior wife and share this very wealthy man. So they have to like step up their game and learn to cook and be polite and keep their appearance up and be extremely, they'd have to be like scientists in the kitchen. And then when they do, they can get a better guy, right? Whereas in polygamous societies, any freaking disgusting Jabba the Hutt female who just happens to have a vagina and nothing else to offer, because of the tremendous shortage of women, she can just roll her stupid ass over to the new house and be taken care of, just because she's a freaking woman, which is just not good for men, in my opinion. So, but in monogamous societies, the women have to step up their game, be loyal, do all the housework thing, and just be very good at what they do, and then they can get a good guy, right? And then inherit all his shit, when he dies. But in my observations, I have not been in a polygamous society. It would appear to me that monogamy seems to be a lot easier on men, and men get a better deal in a monogamous society. But still, some MGTOWs are just saying that it's not right for men to just settle for one woman, and I'm so virile I need multiple women, and what is up with that, dudes? In my opinion, I mean, for what it's worth, I think that is just a bad idea for guys. You're busting your ass and you'd probably die early from the stress, and you have to deal with all their squabbling and their own petty politics games and whatnot, and nah, bad idea if you ask me. So yeah, I am not in favor of a polygamous society. So later.